Welcome to Hearts and Wallets. My name is Tilly, and today I have a super interesting video. In these financial streets, there are predators and there are preys, literally. But I came across this video and I wanted to share it, and this is quite interesting. Let's get into it.
I wanna be like you, Jesus, 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 Jesus. I wanna be like you, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
Your debt down to zero. Now they're the Dave Ramsey's approach of paying your way out of debt. Anybody heard about the snowball approach, the avalanche approach, or the Cedric Nash way? The Cedric Nash way is to invest your way out of debt.
So I'm a huge Dave Ramsey fan, and I believe that Dave Ramsey's approach with debt snowball is a proven method, and the avalanche approach is incredible too. So let's talk about the difference between debt snowball and debt avalanche. Debt snowball is when you list your debt from smallest to largest, and you start paying off the smallest debt first, and you just work your way through the debt. The reason why this is proven is because it gives you small wins, small victories, so that you'll keep going. The avalanche approach is when you list your debt from highest interest to lowest interest. Now, this helps you to not pay as much interest on your debt versus the snowball. And the reason why some people like the avalanche is because you pay more toward the principal and less toward the interest. The reason why people like snowball is because you are going through those smaller debts quicker and quicker and faster, smaller wins, they build up and they keep you going through the finish line. Now, the Cedric Nash method, which is, he said, to invest your way out of debt. All right. Things can get tricky in these financial streets because there are a million different methods. Some work, some don't. I will say with the snowball and the avalanche method, in my opinion, it mitigates the risk of not if an emergency is going to happen, but when that emergency is going to happen, because it's going to happen. We go through things in life, loss of a job, health condition, car goes out, air conditioning goes out. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when it's going to happen. And the snowball and the avalanche kind of help you to mitigate that risk, because you've got all of that debt out of the way, and now you have your money that you bring home. You can use it to build you an emergency fund and so forth, invest and yada. So let's keep going with the Cedric Nash. Invest your way out of debt. This will be interesting.
Anybody understand the power of investing and its ability to pay off your debt? If you were following Dave Ramsey's model from 2008 to 2025, all you were doing was paying down your debt, you'd have lost out on 501% appreciation of the stock market. The kind of growth that could have paid off all of your debt. I'm not saying that you don't pay off your debt or you don't tackle your debt. I say you put your debt in autopilot. Set it and forget it.
Set it and forget it with the debt. I believe it's quite the opposite. You don't set it and forget it with debt. You set it and forget it with investments. The first example he said was from 2008 until 2025. So like it took 17 years for you to pay off debt is crazy. Wow. According to statistics, it is an average of 24 months that it takes to pay off consumer debt. Percentage of interest that you're going to pay on that investment versus the percentage of interest that you're going to pay on the debt versus the emergency that is lurking right around the corner, waiting to pounce on you if you don't have an emergency fund saved and all of this debt wiped out. I don't believe you set it and forget it with debt. You set it and forget it for investments. It takes time with investments to grow and accumulate. Let's just keep going.
We as a community got to get busy investing. You know why? Because investing takes time. It takes time to compound. And the one thing that we do as a mistake is that we spend our entire lives getting into debt to get out of debt, getting into debt to getting out of debt, never investing, never allowing the power of investing to do the job of growing our wealth and lowering our debt. And we're at InvestFest, right? So that's what we're supposed to do.
He is, in fact, so accurate here. Getting out of debt, getting in debt, getting out of debt, getting in debt is exactly true. And even me myself, like I've gotten out of debt, gotten back into debt, gotten out of debt, gotten back into debt. And let's talk about the debt. The debt is high interest consumer debt, credit cards, loans. Those are the types of debts that you avoid. I believe when people think about Dave Ramsey's approach, and other people have approaches as well, they always think about like the total debt. And it's not the total debt that we're talking about. It's high interest credit card debt, high interest loans. For example, even in the debt snowball, you don't include your mortgage. Debt snowball does not include your mortgage. And so I think once you sit down and look at exactly what the debt snowball is and avalanche, it makes more sense. It's not all of your debt. There is some debt, like your mortgage, for example. Having a mortgage that is going to continue to appreciate year over year over year is necessarily the worst debt. But the high interest credit card debt is what is suffocating. Let's keep going.
People always say, well, Cedric, that was 14 years ago. That was the greatest stock run in history. Well, if you know anything about the stock market, for the past 150 years, it's grown at an average of 9.38% compounded. So it's safe to say that if you continue to invest, you can invest your way out of debt. I've used this method time and time again.
It's just something with investing your way out of debt that just doesn't sit right with my inner being, my spirit. Like, why would you want to invest your way out of debt? Why not just pay the debt off? On average, it takes 2 years to pay your debt off, get a clean slate. So if you think about a 20-year span, you take 2 of those years, get out of debt, take the rest of the 18 years and invest and set it and forget it. And just like he said, it takes time for your investments to grow, to accumulate. You need time, 5, 10 years, 15 years in the stock market. Investments is what takes time. Debt, you need to get out of that quickly. It's like a sinking ship. I don't want to slowly get out of this sinking ship. I want to actually go ahead and get out of this ship before it sinks, and then get into a better boat, an investment boat, and then just let it build from there.
I bought an apartment building in Washington, D.C. in 2003. Paid $484,000 for that apartment. Today, it's worth $1.2 to $1.5 million. Now, if I would have had $200,000 in student loan debt and paid down my student loan debt over that past 20 years, I probably still owe the government about $125,000. Well, now that property has over $800,000 in equity. If I had that debt, I could take equity out of that property. I could pay off my debt, and guess who's going to pay it back? My tenant.
Lord have mercy, Jesus. I think it's interesting that he used student loans as the example instead of high interest credit card debt, because that is what is suffocating. I mean, the credit card debt is the highest that it's ever been, of course. Okay, so let's use his example, but just let's use it like level playing field. $400K of debt that you have, or $400K investing into the stock market, which he said is averaging over the last 150 years at 8%, which is credible and true. If I take the $400K and invest it into the stock market and make 8% per year over 20 years, I will end up with roughly, if I don't put any more money in it, I will end up with $1.8 million at the end of those 20 years. According to him, if I take that $400K worth of debt that I have on these the high interest, or let's just say regular interest, not high, low, just regular, 22% interest per month that I have to pay on that $400K. At the end of 20 years, I will have had to pay $1.8 million. This is why I believe mathematically it doesn't make sense to invest your way out of debt, because you're going to be doing the same thing. If you take that money and you invest it at the average rate, 8%, if you take that money and you don't pay off your debt, 400K, and we can take this number and do 20K, 10K, 100K. We can do this number several different ways. It doesn't have to be 400K. Either way, mathematically, it doesn't make sense. At the end of those 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, it's a total wash. So in my opinion, why not take 12 to 24 months, get out of debt those first 2 years, and then take those 18 years and invest. And now you end up at a better position financially because you've paid off that debt. And I mean, it's a lot of brain power that goes into doing that when you can just pay the debt off and then invest. There are a lot of calories that we use to figure out how to invest your way out of debt. And in my opinion, mathematically, it doesn't make sense to invest your way out of debt. What does make sense is to use either the debt snowball or the debt avalanche method and just go hard for 12, 24 months. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think mathematically it's like, you run the numbers? Let's run the numbers. Do you think mathematically it makes sense to invest your way out of debt? I'm curious what other people have to say about it. Thank you for watching. That's all I have for now. I'll see you next time.
I wanna be like you.